to another episode of Haunt Talk, the final one for the Halloween season at least. And this will be our Haunt of the Year awards. If you hear some noises, it's because we're filming this in day because we don't have the time to film and there are people above us that are playing games and whatnot, so sorry. But yes, this is going to be a little bit more concise than last year's Haunt of the Year awards, because I mean, the only people that typically watch this are the people that work at the haunts, it seems. So, yeah. But yeah, we're going to go through the categories, and we have all but one or two. We have three different contenders, and then a winner for each of the categories. So I guess we're just going to kind of get right into it. We didn't get to as many haunts as I don't know if we did as many haunts this year as we did in 2023. But, we did get to go to some further away places. We got to go to Michigan and to Chicago. Yeah, I was going to say Michigan, Detroit. I'm like, wait, that was the same trip. Yeah. We didn't really do many PA ones this year.
No.
So I think next year the focus is going to be going maybe that direction, because I really want to get to Reaper's Revenge, which we've talked about many times on the channel. So I think that next year we're probably going to be doing that. But yeah, we did get to go to a few places that we'd been wanting to go to for a while. Eloise Asylum was a big one. And then in Chicago, we got to go to, what's it called?
Hell's Gate.
Yeah, Hell's Gate. So yeah, those are the two big ones we wanted to go to, and we did get to go to those this year. So I guess we're just going to get into the categories, which as always means we must refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Alright. So we just have one little honorable mention one. We didn't really get to do any actual haunted hayrides besides one this year. We did do Fright Farm, but it is a hayride, but the focus is definitely the stuff after the hayride, even though the hayride is fun. So the only true haunted hayride we went to was Doodah's this year. So honorable mention to them. You can go watch the review. It was a fun little hayride. Definitely can use some more scenes.
Yes.
But it was a fun long hayride out in the country, which is greatly appreciated because there's not that many around us. Which I guess this one isn't around us. I mean, it's 3 hours from you, 2.5 from me, so still pretty far, I guess.
Around us is very relative, I guess you could say.
Yeah, especially for that time of year. It's really funny because when we went to Chicago, it's almost an 8-hour car drive, and it was just one way there, and it was just mind numbing. And then and then the drive to Michigan felt like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it felt like our typical drive to PA. It was oh, this is nothing. We're done.
And people that view the channel will be oh yeah, we drove there and came back the same night, and it's you people, good for you. We have the one fan of the channel who's been to 30 this year, and it's
Crazy.
Bro, which I guess I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't for the reviews. Having to do that, go to all these places, film the reviews, edit the reviews, as well as work every day and stuff. It's it gets to be a lot. But yeah, so again, we would greatly appreciate it because if you would help share the reviews and stuff like that, because to be quite frank, we don't get the views we need on the reviews. So yeah, if you want to continue to see us actually review places, we're going to need you to actually help share and stuff like that, or else we might have to pivot the channel more for walkthroughs or something else, because it's kind of going to all these places and having only 200 little reviews on a channel we've been doing for 10 years. It's kind of it's a little defeating. But anyways, getting right into it, the first category is Best Actor. So now this is not Best Actors overall in a haunt. This is singular Best Actor or actress for this. So the first of the three we want to mention is I don't know the names for it. Obviously, we don't know the name of the people that are portraying these characters.
I mean, he liked the name, so I guess we could use it because he commented and he used the name as well. Did, so I guess he likes it. Yeah,
which is Dogman at Hallowfest, which was a newer haunt at least in the Geneva on the Lake area.
Yeah. Next is the Woman in Black, or the Black Widow, at Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse.
Yep, she's been there I think since we've been going.
I think so.
And then we have, and I just have her as lowercase girl at Hell's Gate. So referring to it was an actress who scared me just a little bit and said that was a scream in lowercase, and then a little bit later on scared me a lot more and actually made me shriek, and she's like, now that's an uppercase scream. And I don't know, I just really like that interaction of her purposefully going after me to try and get a better scare out of me and then mentioning that she got it.
So our winner for Best Actor is Dogman.
Yeah. He was just insanely aggressive because we had the touch pass when we went there. He kept shoving us and separating us, crawling on the ground, sniffing people.
Yeah.
And he just stalked us for a while, just high places and just dead run at us straight on. And it was just, yeah, he was really intense and awesome. We really liked our interaction with him. But that brings us to the next category, which is Best Scene. And again, this is different than Best Sets and Props. This is one single scene.
Yes.
That was, some of our favorites. So the contenders for that is the shocking cages in Erebus. And again, we mentioned that in the review, but basically it's these 2 cages you walk through, one on each side. And once you begin to walk through them, there's a mini Tesla coil that starts to move back and forth between them while they vibrate. And we don't think you can get shocked by it, but it was terrifying because we thought we were going to get electrocuted.
Is very scary.
Yeah.
The next is the TV room at Eloise Asylum. So what we mean by this, and we mentioned it in the review as well, is that they had a bunch of TVs up on a wall, and they had patients that were strapped down in chairs, and the patients kind of had their brains exposed with wires going into them and whatnot to see their reactions to what was being put on those television screens, which wasn't necessarily great stuff.
Right. And then the last one is the Tilted Church at the 13th floor in Chicago. So you see the facade of this place from the outside, which is cool, and it is just a church that's tilted. And then as you walk through the forest and cemetery, you actually get into the church. And we've seen the tilted rooms before where you kind of have to hold onto a bar to kind of go around them, like 100 Acre Manor has one. But this one was cool because, again, it was a church with the pews and all of that. And there's a cool, I think it was a demonic preacher or something in there just jumping around being crazy. So it was just, I've not seen a scene like that before in any place. And I thought it was really unique and interesting.
Yeah. So our winner for Best Scene was the shocking cages at Erebus.
Yeah. It was just, again, very terrifying. And there was a lot of scenes in Erebus that were very unique that I have not seen anywhere else that were just kind of jarring and what is happening. But yeah. So next category is going to be most fun. So what we mean by that, it's just not only is it scary, but it's just that sense of just kind of awe and wonderment, and it just puts a smile on your face. Even though you're being scared, you're this is just so much fun. So Hell's Gate is number 1, and the main reason this one's on there is because of more of that wonderment thing that I mentioned. Around every corner, there's just something grand to look at, and then the reveal of the mansion after you're done at the outside portion. It's just wow. This it's like Disney World for people that are in the haunted houses.
Next is Ghoul Brothers. If you've been to Ghoul Brothers, you know this doesn't need any explanation because it's just fun. They're all over the place. It doesn't feel like you're I don't know. You just feel like you should be there, and it's just fun, and I don't know. It's just
yeah. it is a lot of fun, and if you've been paying attention to social media, you probably do know that Ghoul Brothers is closing down. They basically got screwed over by their landlord, or not landlord, the people that own the complex that they're within basically decided, we don't want you here anymore, and they gave them 2 weeks basically to get out. Once you leave, it's really disgusting, and I've even seen some news coverage on it, so hopefully they do find another place. And then the next one that is the most fun is Hollowfest. And now the reason that we chose this one is it really just feels kind of like a party atmosphere.
Yes.
And while it was scary, it's also just a beautiful midway, because it is a winery even in the day. So, the winery was really cool, and, even the bartenders being dressed up in costume. I think one is, Frankenstein Bride, and I forget what the other one was.
Yeah. And, they had, a beautiful bonfire, and these big barns that you could sit in with beautiful chandeliers and stuff, and they had concessions. And it just felt just a little, carnival almost, and then, there was spooky Halloween stuff to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that place has a lot of room to grow as well. And I'm excited to see what they do in the future. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. They have bands, not the night we were there, but they have bands that play there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for most fun, we gave it to Hell's Gate just because, I mean, and even just the bus rides you go there and the actors are so entertaining. Just from the moment you like get out of your car to the moment you leave, it's just a really awesome like full experience, which we really liked. So next takes us on to best theme. So this is best singular theme. Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse, of course, which they typically are in this category for being a slaughterhouse theme. Yeah. Even though that's not unique, they do it unique because they are in an actual slaughterhouse.
Yes.
We've talked about them endlessly on the channel. We've done the documentary. Make sure you go watch that episode. Make sure you go watch that episode on them for that as well if you want to see behind the scenes of all of that.
The next for best theme is Eloise Asylum. So this place it was actually a working asylum at one time, and they just really built up on that theme, and just it's just so grandiose of the way that they did it. Like we said in the review and stuff like that, it was just beautiful to look at, and it really does make you feel like you stepped into an old-timey asylum.
Yeah, it was really impressive. And then the last one is the Hawthorne at Fright Farm. So Fright Farm is a multi-theme haunt, so we're specifically talking about one of the new additions, which is I think they consider I think they call it like Night at the Hawthorne, but that's the name of like the hotel that they made there. Very Tower of Terror inspired, and we really liked that theme. It was one of our favorite additions they've done at Fright Farm since we've been going there.
And the winner for best theme is Eloise Asylum.
Yeah, absolutely. If you watch the review, you know we had some problems with the actors not being the best, but again, you have to go to this place to see it, though. Yeah. It is absolutely gorgeous. One of the best looking haunts we've ever been to. So next is best scare. Now again, this isn't the scariest haunt, but the best single scare that we got in one. So the first one we want to mention is the cabin scare at the 13th floor. So basically, this is kind of like Evil Dead reminiscent. Mm-hmm. I've also been told that this was kind of like a copy scare from another haunt that I haven't been to. So, I mean, be that what it is. But basically, you walk into a room, and all simultaneously, there's like someone that runs and jumps on a table while the windows like blow air and have lightning strike. And it's just this very like visceral, all-encompassing scare that if you're in the room when it happens, even if you know it's going to happen, it's almost impossible to at least not get a startle from it, just because there's so many things that are happening.
Right. The next is the Vortex Tunnel at Erebus. Now, okay, you're thinking, wait, a Vortex Tunnel scared you guys? Yes, because this Vortex Tunnel moves.
Yeah.
Like the actual bridge that you're walking on just starts going whatever way it wants to as you're going through this vortex tunnel. I completely forgot. Josh remembered.
Oh, I remembered.
So normally when I walk through a vortex tunnel, because I'm so like immune to them, I don't hold on to the handlebars. Well, let's just say that didn't happen this time. Because
she wasn't holding on until it tried to throw her off.
It tried to yeet me into the actual vortex tunnel. So yeah, they definitely get a vote for best scare.
Yeah, maybe best vortex tunnel. Yeah,
best vortex tunnel.
Outside of the only other thing that might be worse than that is the one that shocks you that Ghost Lake used to have or might still have. And then the last one we want to mention for best scare is actually at Doodah's Haunted Hayride. There's this like random scene where you're kind of like on a hill and this like these hunters are having a whole spiel, and then all of a sudden he does a blast the whole hayride with a ton of nitrous oxide. I think that's what it is, right? Nitrous oxide? I think so. It's like the really cold air.
Yeah, like a cold air gun. It was just, we didn't expect it. Like, we thought maybe they'd shoot us with blanks or make like a simulated gun. No, it was just this big blast of cold air, and we all were just like,
yeah, and just encompassing in fog, too, so you couldn't see anything, and you're just freezing. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that really startled us, and that's actually the one that's going to win our best scare, just because it just kind of, we were not expecting it.
Yeah.
And that's something else I'm excited for them to continue with their hayride over the years, because there's the bones of something really good there, because most of the scares on it were unique.
Yes.
Like the guy that doused you in gasoline that kept trying to light you on fire.
Yeah.
That was fun. So I'm really hoping, I don't know if we're going to go next year, but we want to go like in a couple years or something and to see how they expand on it, because I think they do have good ideas there. So now we're going to talk about best location. So this one, pretty much describes itself, just the location we like the best for the haunt.
Yeah.
These are going to be pretty obvious. We have Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse. I'm just going to go through them quick. Blood Prison, or Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse, it's in a slaughterhouse. Blood Prison, because it's in a prison. Eloise Asylum, because it's in an asylum.
So our winner for best location is Blood Prison.
Yeah. I mean, all of these locations are amazing for different reasons. Like, Chippewa's smaller, but I don't know of any other haunt that's in a slaughterhouse, so that's cool. But, I mean, it's hard to beat Mansfield, because for one, Mansfield just looks like an old haunted castle because it was meant to look that way to be terrifying for the inmates, which that thought alone is like, oh, it was simply made to just look scary to scare people. Like, the building actually was made to be scary looking.
Yep.
So you pull up to it, and especially if it's your first, because we got the chance to bring someone that had never been there before. Cam, she's the one that does the voice of the Book of the Dead voice, which is funny. She's been briefly in like clips here and there, but she goes with us from time to time, and like getting to see her reaction to be like, oh wow, this is the place and stuff like that. It's just cool, but just being inside of it too. Like, most of it is really well themed, but then the couple spots that they just let it be a prison, like in Solitary, just tells you right there why it's the best location, because you're like, I don't want to be here.
So that brings us to most unique haunted house. So the contenders for that are Erebus, Wells Township Haunted House, and Hell's Gate.
Right. And I mean, Erebus mainly just because the props try to kill you, and it's basically a haunted house filled with pranks, as we call it, like a haunted fun house. Wells Township's weird because you got your tour guide and you go individual rooms. Hell's Gate is mainly unique just because of the fact that it just feels like a haunted adventure.
Yes.
I would say it probably is the least weird and like weirdly unique. But the thing, it's kind of hard to describe why that one's unique, because it is for the most part a traditional haunted house, but the way the actors interact with you and just the way it's laid out and the way it feels isn't like any other haunted house that I've been to. But yeah, for most unique, of course, we gave it to Erebus. That haunted, if you haven't been there, it's so wacky and strange. Make the drive to it. It's 100% worth it. It's just fun as well. Maybe that one also could have been in the contender for most fun, but it leans more towards just terrifying with the things they do to you, so I think that's why we didn't include it. But yeah. So now we're going to get into two different categories back to back, which is best yard display and best yard haunt. And we just, the video that was right before this one was our yard haunt / yard display of 2024. Make sure to go check that out. It's our favorite video to make of the year, and it's also the video that's done the best this year. But there's a ton of yard haunts. There's like, I think there's more than 15 total included in that video. And all the places we're going to mention, there actually is footage of on that video.
Yes. So we're going to start off with best yard display. The first one we're going to talk about is, we're not really sure if it's called this. We know that another media person called it the Pumpkin King House.
Yeah.
It's on Hecko Hill in Canton.
I'm assuming she called it that just because there is like a giant pumpkin at one point.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the ground in one part.
Yeah. It was just beautiful and just really, I don't know. It's
different.
Different. Like, not your typical, like, the colors were just, like, perfect. And it just, I don't know, whoever did it, they have to be, like, an interior designer or something. Because it was just so well put together. It's
hard to, it's very ornately, like, put together, I guess. Like, where it's actually, like, set up at and just the way things are placed. But then the other thing that makes it beautiful is they use, like, fluorescent paints with black lights just to highlight the colors. It doesn't really necessarily glow, but it just makes it like more saturated or something.
Yes.
If you watch the footage, you'll see exactly what we mean. The next one we really liked was, I didn't have a name for it, but it was in Tanglewood Lane in Parma. It reminded us a lot of the one we went to last year, which was, what was it called?
Haunt on William
Street.
Yeah.
That one was kind of a surprise too, because we didn't expect it to be as awesome as it was, but they had so many cool props. We just really liked that yard display.
Yeah. This Tanglewood one was just very reminiscent of that. Just like having everything just very well organized and just very nicely set up. And then the next is, it's called Severed Hills in Seven Hills. And this one we've been doing quite a few times.
Yeah, I think we've done it almost every year. We've done the yard.
Yeah. And they just added a bunch more stuff to it this year. And it's just, they do just really well done, like just like the little scenes, little vignettes, I guess you could say, of like all these little characters and stuff like that. And it's just really awesome.
Yeah, and they do move it around and add things every year, so it's really cool. The winner we did give to that one, we're calling the Pumpkin King House, because again, it was just absolutely gorgeous. And I haven't seen anything quite like how it was set up. So the next one is going to actually be Yard Haunts. So these are ones that you actually walk through, not just display you look at. We do have one extra one because we just did 4 Yard Haunts and we wanted to mention all of them.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to mention is Westbrook Haunt. This is the first time me and Kim had ever been to this one. And it is insanely detailed. It is literally a pro level haunt in someone's yard. Now it's shorter, of course, because it's literally in just someone's front yard, but they had tons of actors in it. I mean, it was just scene after scene. There's pretty much no black hallways.
No.
They even had like queue line entertainment. They had like a thing where they could like people could get up above and like taunt you and stuff like while you're waiting in line. It's just absolutely amazing. Definitely go check that out. I'm probably going to, for a couple of these yard haunts, make a separate video for just that and upload it outside of the like hour and a half long yard display video, so people can kind of compartmentalize those a little bit more. But the next one up is Royal Scare. This one we are super excited about because he stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Sold all of his stuff and then decided he wanted to do it again this year.
And then he just made all new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is just always a delight to go through. And I actually got one of my best scares here. And I don't understand how or why, but just this stupid little thing comes like down in front of me. It was like a dollar store, one of those creepy cloth things with the face or whatever. And we're done with the haunt. We're walking. I turn like this. I turn this way. This thing's hanging in front of my face. It scared the cream cheese out of me. And it was just some kid with a pulley back behind a tree.
Just on a string around like a tree limb.
It was crazy, but it was probably one of the best scares that I had all year.
Yeah, I just hear a yelp. I thought she got like was tripped or something. I'm like, what happened? It's funny. You see it in the video because you just hear, because the camera's not aiming and you just hear it go, oh! Like, it's funny. The next one on the list, now this is the only one that's like, this is like this is like in between being a yard haunt and a pro haunt. It started off as a yard haunt though, and it was called Gorgas Street Horror, which they still kind of go by that, but I think the actual name of the trail now is like Fallen Angels or something like that.
Yeah, Fallen Angels or something.
Yeah, because it used to be like 2 people's yards that were connected, and kind of like similar to Parma Haunted Yard, and they would do that, but then the city was like, hey, why don't you use the local park and kind of do your thing there? So it's still very much like some local people doing it. And they only open for like the last 2 weekends or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then the last one was one that we had never heard of before, and I think this is only their 2nd year, they said, of doing it.
Yeah.
Which they go by Main Street Horror, and this is literally 2 minutes away from Gorgas Street Horror, and it's also in Louisville, really close to Canton.
Yeah. And that one was like, just really surprising how well done it was for being a yard haunt and stuff. And all of these actually were just amazing.
I love the yard haunts and displays because like it's also a little more forgiving to go in there with like our mindset, because like I don't have any expectations going into a yard haunt that someone, most of these, I think Gorgas was the only one that cost money to go into, because it was by far the longest of all of these as well. But like, you're going in and the most they ask for is maybe a donation. So it's like, it's just seeing what people do literally just because they're passionate about it, not for really money or anything like that. They're like, we just want to do it, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which, the most impressive, which is our winner, is the Westbrook Haunt. As much as we love all of these, this thing is insane. I can't believe this is just a yard haunt. I would love to see what they would do if they were to ever just go pro and do like a full-length haunted house.
That would be fantastic.
Because this is one of the most impressive things that we went through, and it was only, I think it was less than 5 minutes long. So, I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you can't go check that out this year, but hopefully they do it in 2025, and you absolutely need to go check it out if they do.
Yes. So that brings us to, I guess what you would say is our big categories.
Yep.
These are the ones that we typically do when we do our reviews.
Yep.
So let's get right into it. So our first one is best sets and props. We are starting off with Erebus, Eloise Asylum, and Hell's Gate.
Yep.
Again, we don't have to repeat it again, but all of these had just super awesome sets, super awesome uses of their different props and stuff like that. Just excellent work.
Yeah, and I think Erebus is the one that stands out because while Eloise and Hell's Gate are absolutely just beautiful, immaculate haunts, Erebus is that a little bit, but it's more of the just so weird and unique.
Yes.
Of just like weird things, getting ate by piranha plants, trying to like dodge walls so they don't squish you, like that kind of thing. So it's more of like the interactive.
Oh, almost getting hit by a giant mallet.
Yeah, if we did just a best props section, Erebus wins that hands down, but this is best sets and props. But yeah, we gave it to Eloise. As much as we love Hell's Gate, like Eloise was just, it's the most beautiful haunted house we've walked through. Just from beginning to end, it was just like eye candy to look at. So the next big category is best actors. So Hell's Gate, this one because again they're a bunch of theater brats, and I haven't seen ones that they describe themselves that way.
I know.
As kind of, it's hard to describe why the actors are so unique and good here, but it just felt different.
Yeah.
All of them are so interactive, and the stuff they said and the way they interacted with each other was just unique and cool.
Because this wasn't one of those places where they're just gonna scream at you. Like they had like full on like lines and stories, and I'm sure each of them have like a background story for each other. You know,
100%.
So yeah, just very unique.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course Ghoul Brothers. Again, sad to see them go because they consistently have some of the best actors, and it's mainly just the raw energy that they bring. There's nothing else quite like it, the way they stalk you and just torment you, and just they're every single nook and cranny you look, there's going to be an actor, and it's a wild time. We actually went for we wanted to go one last time since it's the last time we'd ever really be able to go, and we ended up getting conga line because these people were terrified and like stopped and kept literally crying. And even getting conga line, they still managed to somehow get us many times.
Yeah.
Because they're just that good. Yeah.
And then lastly is Blood Prison.
Yeah. And that one's more of just because they try to kill you, I think. Like, I mean, they really do, though. Like, they're so rough with you. Like, the physical interaction at Blood Prison, if you do the touch pass, is unlike any other haunt we've done yet. Even, like, more so than, like, the haunt that's known for that in Kentucky. With the Haunted Hotel, is that what it's called? Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, people say how rough they are there and stuff, and it's like, you haven't been to Blood Prison if you think that's rough.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the only thing with that place is you don't get the option when you go to the Haunted Hotel.
Yeah, no.
It just happens to you. Blood Prison, you do at least get the option. But for best actors, we did give it to Ghoul Brothers. Again, they are just amazing, and they're just like a giant family as well. So yeah, they are always some of the best actors, and it's no different this year.
Yeah. So then our next category is Scariest. We have Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse, Blood Prison, and Hell's Gate.
Yep.
And again, you know, each of these has their own unique reason why they are the scariest. I mean, how can you not be scary if you're in an old, possibly haunted slaughterhouse or a haunted prison, or, you know, a big woods that leads you to a very foreboding house.
Yeah.
You know.
Mansion. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just they each have their own unique way of being one of the scariest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we did give the Scariest to Blood Prison.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere we go there, it ends up winning. We've yet to find one that is scarier than Blood Prison, you know, the typical haunted house, because again, we're not into the ones that force feed you and just literally torture you for a while. But for like a normal haunted house that just does like touch pass type stuff, I feel like it's just hard to beat Blood Prison. I mean, the environment mixed with the intensity of the actors it's something. If you haven't been there with touch pass, you need to. If you're like, haunted houses don't scare me that much, go do Blood Prison with touch pass and let me know if that changed your mind at all. So now we're on to best value. So first contender is Fright Farm. This is a gargantuan haunted house that takes anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, and they're open a lot of days, especially towards the end. So there's some nights where I believe you can go, at least for this year, you can go, I think as cheap as like $20.
Yeah.
And if you go to this for $20 for that much, and there's not even a line where you just get entertained while you wait, like absolute steal.
And is this a one, don't they have a season pass as well?
They do. I forget how much it is. It's actually, they mentioned in the documentary, which is part of it. So if you want to find that out, you can go watch that.
I mean, it's just, for being as long as it is and how good it is, it's definitely worth the money just to go, be in that environment.
Even on the most expensive nights, which I think I think it gets to around 40, it's still worth it for as long as this haunt is. Because so many places, like in Chicago, we're paying $40, $50 and we're in there for like 10 minutes. And it's,
Our next contender for best value is Ghoul Brothers. For what you get for this haunt, I mean, it's so intense. It might not be the longest, but I mean, it doesn't. It really packs a punch for what you're getting.
Yeah, because Ghoul Brothers is $25, and it usually takes us around 18 to 20 minutes to go through. But again, that is just 18 to 20 minutes of no filler, just constant scares. And also, like, anything you can find for under $30 anymore, especially for quality,
right?
It is good. And Ghoul Brothers, was absolute amazing quality and value.
And then lastly is Wells Township Haunted House. This place, speaking of houses that are under $20.
Yeah, under 20, not under 30, under 20.
Under 20.
Consistently the cheapest one we go to.
Right now, I think.
18 for this. It's a little more if you do online, but online's kind of like a fast pass beach. 18 at the gate. That's insane. It was $15 for the longest time. It's... I don't know of any other haunt that's not like a first-year haunt or like a local haunt that's under $20 outside of Wells Township. And they've been doing this for a long time. So that's awesome for them to still keep that price low because they're not in it for the money. They basically charge. They can just keep building. That's realistically why. But for best value, we did go ahead and give it to Fright Farm just because especially if you go on one of those value nights like Sunday or like later in the year, I think they're open on like Thursdays and stuff like that. And if you get it for that $20, like that's insane.
Yeah.
So now it's on to the big category, the haunt of the year, just the overall haunt. So we have, of course, the 3 contenders. Those contenders are Hell's Gate,
Ghoul Brothers,
and Blood Prison. So Blood Prison has won many years in a row. Ghoul Brothers has won 1 year. This was our first time to Hell's Gate. And this was a hard one because we went to a lot of good ones this year to really kind of decide. But we did actually decide on Hell's Gate as being our personal haunt of the year. Now, Hell's Gate didn't actually receive the best scores. And I just want to point that out because this isn't necessarily the one that got the highest scores. It's just like the one that I don't really even know how to describe it, that we maybe enjoyed the most or just the one that really spoke to us the most this year. And part of that is because it's our first time being there and it was a bucket list of ours. And a bucket list of ours was also Eloise Asylum, and it was amazing to look at. It did disappoint us because the actors were just not there for us when we went through. But Hell's Gate just had it all, man. I mean, from getting on the spooky bus ride and riding down that spooky road, to dropping you off into the party tent basically, where the actors are juggling and performing acts and scaring you and just being weird, and then just how long the haunt was, just how beautiful it was, even though we got conga lined watching the actors do their best to separate us and entertain us, and fix that problem, and just there's the slide. It was just so much fun to go through, and it was just such an experience for us, and it was just it really, we just really liked it. There's some things that we said in the review that maybe they could improve upon, but overall, we just absolutely loved going through it. Yeah. So again, by honorable mention, Ghoul Brothers is the only haunt that actually got all 10s. So they were our highest reviewed haunt, which is awesome, especially since it was our last year. I do think this was probably the best year that we had went through it. They just kind of hit every mark and even added a couple scenes. Again, big shame to see them go, but I have faith that they will find a new location, hopefully a more permanent one that they can't get screwed out of, and be able to, you know, be there for many more years. So we look forward to that. All of that being said, let us know in the comments, what was your favorite haunt of the year? Do you agree with our list? Do you disagree with our list? What do you think, you know, was missing from it? Let us know places you would like to see us go. You know, I typically, when people screenshot places, if it's realistic at all, I will, or when people like comment it, I'll like screenshot it if it's realistic at all for us to go to and stuff like that. Because we're always looking for new places to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being said, also let us know if you want to see us go to any Christmas haunts. We want to go to a couple. Again, it's usually hard to go to many because most of them do it all on the same weekend.
Yeah.
You
Stop
know,
doing that.
Yeah, and since it's Christmas, although December hasn't been real snowy lately, but sometimes it's hard to like plan a further away trip because also I work retail, so it's hard for me to like get weekends off in December. I just kind of can't do that, so I can't be traveling. But you know, we think we want to do Blood Prison's Christmas event, and then at least one other, maybe Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, or we kind of thinking probably not Fear Columbus, just going all the way to Columbus, and we've done them a couple times now. I mean, it's good. You definitely should go to it if you haven't been to that before. But yeah, just kind of let us know what you would like to see us do for the Christmas event. And the Factory of Terror also does their Christmas Factory. Now, it's not a haunted event, but I guess they are going to have a section that does have a haunted house open or something. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, we did a video on that last year. I don't know if we're going to do a video again of that, but we do plan on going to that. And it is a lot of fun, even if you're not into like Christmas a lot. They, if you're into alcohol, they sure have that there. They sure have that there.
So much.
But yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this season of Haunt Talk and all the videos we've put out. Because again, even though we didn't do as many reviews, I mean, we had that 6-episode long documentary we did to kind of kick the season off. Plus, we had the longest yard haunt video we've done yet. So yeah, I do think that we did still put out, you know, quite a bit of content, and it was nice to kind of see your guys' like interaction and stuff with that.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, and make sure you're ringing that notification bell.
Until next year, pumpkin.
Yeah. Next time it might be a sleigh bell or something if we get to do the Christmas videos. But yes, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.